Hello and welcome everybody to episode 29 of HeroesHype Live. Today we have some very special guests all the way across the pond. I think that's the saying. With me as always is Dunkstick to my left. How you doing, man?
It's doing great, boy. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I played some Hero League. It didn't completely suck. And Heroes of the Dorm got announced today. So I've already booked my ticket and my plane ticket and bought the ticket for the event. So it's I'm pretty hyped to see some pretty great play out of the college students.
But you know what I'm pretty hyped for? The two boys below me, Loranis and Henning, the tank and support for Team Singularity over in Europe.
So literally the glue of the team. What's up, guys? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Hello, everybody.
The way he says that, it's just, so entranced.
Now, if you don't know, well, actually, it says it on the screen, but Henning's the one on the bottom right, and then Loranis is right below me. Anyway, I just realized I'm on the wrong thing. Oh no! There we go. I transitioned. Production value, live shows. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's go right into the Open Division for Europe. We'll start there. Yeah. So this week we were more than a little surprised when you guys didn't make the top 4. Now that's been consistent every week that you've at least gotten top 4, if not top 2. Actually, I don't think you've gotten second ever.
No,
you've always won if you made the finals. So it was surprising to me when I'm watching all the games happening, and I'm like, oh, Singularity lost. Well, that sucks. But Manticore also lost in the round of 8, so that secured your number 1 seed for the playoffs. So is it a bittersweet moment for you guys, or are you just happy that you're locked in at number 1?
I mean, at the time it was pretty unlucky, or like it felt pretty bad losing out in quarters, like as you said, not making top 4 for the first time. Mm-hmm. But something we also said is like when we haven't made the final, the team that we went out against won everything. So that's something, a small comfort at least. And I also think that our result, we played pretty well against worst positioning based on how our scrims went that entire week before. It was pretty catastrophic, but now we are starting to get back on track again, which is very good, since now it's the time when everything starts to really matter. And then we feel really comfortable having our number 1 seed locked in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we had the super rough. Like, our week of scrimming was just hell. I think we lost like 30 games out of 34 or something. So like basically we almost lost every game, and we didn't really know why that happened. Like, our communication wasn't on point. Then like the meta change kinda took us from the double tank when we had Blaze Blaze playing a huge role in our drafts and everything. So I don't know, but now we start to adapt and it's getting way better. So yeah.
Okay. Now, before I get into the actual tournament, I want to ask you 2 questions. You mentioned scrim results weren't going so well. Are you scrimming HGC teams or mainly just open teams?
We have been scrimming like some HGC teams, not like too recently, but we have been. Most of the times it has been quite unlucky because we have been booked with HGC teams as their like backup plan, and then we have been cancelled last second as they found like another HGC team to scrim. And at the moment we mostly just scrim open teams though.
Okay. And then going with that, you were mentioning the meta shift, and how you've kind of struggled a little bit. What heroes are you seeing that are starting to pop up more, or maybe fade into the background with the Sonya and Medivh rework patch?
one thing was that like Zone and Medivh started to get picked, and one thing that we realized now, like after all of this, when watching replays and stuff, is that we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a bit. We prioritized Medivh a little bit too much. Like we overestimated him a bit, I think. And also it feels like heroes like Tyrell and Blaze they weren't as high on the priority ladder or whatever you want to call it. Since it's mostly been about the Maiev and the Tracer, and if not, then the Greymane and so on, which is now the small patch that came tonight. Will be really interesting though, since they nerfed some things on like the Sonya, the Tyrell, the Blaze, and the Medivh and so on. Even though Cup 7 is going to be played on like before this hotfix, but
it's going to be the same patch.
Yeah. But playoffs is going to be on like another one, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I think you forgot Stukov after Western Clash.
After Shad's performance, yeah.
His name isn't Stukov anymore, it's just Shad.
Oh yeah. Okay, so everyone started to play Shad, and I mean, this guy is just a freaking god on this hero, and they pulled it out really well. And I think like since people saw what he can do, everyone tried to kind of copy it and maybe adapt it to their style, but still, you know, the core is like get the CC and then root, or root and get the CC, like, and the target is basically that. So yeah, it's kind of like once people figured out how to play around it, it was fine in scrims and also in cups. So it wasn't like it's still dangerous, but you know, okay, we can counter it. But this pick is like, yeah, it's just Shad things, I guess.
Now, going into this week, I'm going to talk about this week in particular. It seems in the 2 weeks that you lost, you did lose to the same exact team, Terez Rodzina. And we had speculated a little bit, because we haven't had anyone from you on. Is that just the team that kind of has your number? And when you saw the bracket this week and they're on the opposite side, you're like, yes, we can make it all the way to the finals? Or they don't really care and you just had a really off week those 2 weeks when you lost to them?
In the first week when we won like the first cup, we played them in the first round, I think, and then we knocked them out. And then the 2 upcoming weeks, we both of the times we kind of respected them too much. Like we didn't take the risks or whatever you want to call it. Like we didn't make the plays we would usually do because we respected them and like played around their game instead, which made us really weak against them. And since those 2, like cup 3 and 4,
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Then like last cup they got knocked out in the quarters to Undergods, which was really surprising. I think like Undergods played like the series of their lives pretty much. And Polska had some, or like Terras Rodzina, they had some wonky drafts as well. But based on like in scrims and stuff as well, we like match up really equal against them, and I would say that we win like 60-40, like 65-35% of the games, you know. So I wouldn't say it was like those 2 weeks in particular we respected them a bit too much, I think.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Interesting to know.
Now,
and let's see. You made it this week against Easy Clap, who I'm not familiar with, and then lost 2-1 against Worst Positioning. Loranes, what were those games like? Because we didn't get to see them casted.
Actually, you don't want to know what happened in Discord. Like, I mean, like starting with game 1, we had the lead, and Karsi tried to do some plays on the bot lane, and unfortunately he died because Sonya rotated, and then we lost the shrine, which was on 38 like points for us already. So I don't know, like it was so unfortunate. Then then we still killed 3 people. It's fine, but somehow we managed to throw this game. I don't know.
It was like one fight on. We were playing Infernal on the first map, so then we had like one fight, 20 against 20 on the bot shrine.
Oh yeah, that's where I forgot to blink. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, and we get like we almost kill Hanzo with the Medivh polymorph, but he manages to escape. And then the enemy Diablo charges in, and we get like a Leoric silence and tomb on him, and we just blow him up. And then we get super split off. Like we have 3 people on one side and 2 people on the other side, whereas the 3 people are in the middle of a Stuke of Silence. And then the 2 people on the other side, which is Corsi on Medivh and Laranas on ETC. Then Laranas gets a bit chunked, and he just like after the game realizes, oh shit, I actually had blink there. I could blink out.
Yeah. So you have to imagine the shot calling was like, Corsi on Medivh said like, oh, I have shield in 2 seconds. And then I saw the Junkrat nade like flying, and I was like, if that hits me, I'm gonna dead. And then Henning was like, I'm running, I'm gonna divine you. And I was like, okay. And I was just standing still. I was like, okay, either I get the shield or I get the divine. And then, like after the game, I went, like after the series, I went into like replay. I watched it and I was like, you're such an idiot. Because then I had like, I think 3-4 possible ways to blink. I could blink out, I could blink in and mosh. I could do anything. If I do something, I'm fine. But I am monkey. Yeah. So that was game 1. We lost this.
Mhm.
Game 2 was pretty close, I guess.
Yeah, it was Sky Temple. It was very back and forth. We lost the bot keep, but we get a chase in the bot lane. Like we killed 4 of them, I think. We get a nice Hanzo arrow and just like chase them down with Tracer, and get a nice Divine Mosh under their fort to like come back into the game. And then we just started taking really good fights against them on the temples, and we managed to come back and win that one. And then game 3, oh man, that was quite a bad game.
Something you don't want to talk about.
No. I mean, I don't know. Like, first of all, like we had some unlucky situations where we could have interrupted the altar cap, but unfortunately, like the Medivh portal ran out, so we couldn't get there in time. And then we had a lot of miscommunication, and like to be honest, I started to argue a bit, and I think that kind of demoralized the team, which was my bad. Like I realized it, but it just feel like if you want to win so bad and then you see everything starts falling apart and nothing works out, then yeah, I just got a bit too emotional. And but after we lost like the series, we were like okay, whatever shouldn't happen, but at least like we are first seed and we can now focus on the playoffs and like try the things we wanted to try, prepare something special maybe like in drafts and stuff. So it's not too bad, but of course you want to win. Like that's why we play the game.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I would, even if you're first seed, you still want to win, whether it's for money or just to,
it's for
show
the
that you're
pride,
trying to improve.
For glory.
Yeah. It's for the bragging rights, really. So after you guys lost to Worst Positioning, they took on E-Punks in the round of 4. I think pretty easily winning 2-0. I wasn't able to watch.
Yeah, that was quite obvious. Yeah, we said they're gonna go to finals, and after we saw Terras Regina playing against Valhalla in the semis, we were calling that Worst Positioning is gonna win. Bless you.
It was like it was a really weird week, so to say. As the caster said, it was like Terras was number 3 seed at the time, and they were the only team like in top 4. Then it was like the 8th, no, or what was it? Yeah, the 7th seed, the 9th seed, and the what was E-Punk's 5th seed, I think, in top 4.
Yeah, 5th.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but of course, like it's different if you do it in open division and like legit nobody cares about what you do in open division, and then you get you get called in as a sub in Western Clash, and like with a team like Fnatic, it's I think it's hard to like really pop off and show how good you can be, and he did it really well. So I think
Real quick, Arky, are you muted?
I fixed it. There's a dog whining on the other side of the door, so I'm trying to keep it down.
Aww.
Anyway, what I had said was, and Laura answered the question well, was Sonic coming from the Western Clash having kind of showed up. I was surprised that people were shocked because I've seen it for a couple weeks. Anyway, so moving on to the other side of the bracket, we had Teraz playing against Valhalla, and I was actually surprised, like pleasantly surprised, at how well Valhalla was playing compared to the previous few weeks, because the first couple weeks they looked really good. I think they got top 4 both times. Let me see.
Yeah.
4 than 8. 4 than 8.
4 and 8. And then they stagnated basically. I swear they made a roster change. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, no, they did. We knocked them out in quarters last cup, and then moving into this cup, we're not really sure the reason why, but they swapped out Tank FTW for Danatan.
Mm-hmm. That's what I remember.
Which seems to have worked well for them. It might be the honeymoon phase, as you like to call it,
Maybe,
Yep. But I think that it looked like they had some newborn energy, and they looked good this week.
There wasn't
they took one map of Terra's Lucina, and the other 2 were also pretty close.
Yeah.
And I watched a bit of the 3rd place match on this channel, and both of their games, or like first game, E-Punks had it, but Valhalla had a really good like core defense and made a comeback and won.
Mm-hmm.
And the second game was a stomp, pretty much.
Yep. I know Danatan. How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, Danatan
played Zagara in one game.
Of course, he plays Zagara.
Really? Oh man.
And it was first
surprise.
Hollow, I think.
Yeah. Probably.
But he was playing tank the rest of the time. So
yeah,
obviously,
I mean, the thing is,
so far it's working out.
If he gets the possibility to play Zagara in Hero League or in any game, then he will pick it.
Well, it's
like Logan, he's gonna do.
Logan of EU.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the finals, we had Worst Positioning taking on Teraz, and Worst Positioning ended up winning 2-1. The first game, if I remember correctly, I kind of watched this in a blur this morning because I've had a bunch of stuff to do today. But Worst Positioning won game 1. And then Teraz
I think Teraz won one, right? Or?
No, Worst Positioning won the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Worst
then
Positioning
Teraz
won the first one. And then Worst Positioning was winning game 2. And Teraz came back and took
it was the Dragonshire game, right?
Yep. I believe so. And
then the third game, I was like really surprised on how fast that Towers game went by. Actually,
yeah, that one was extremely fast. Actually, I think I watched it in like 10 minutes because I would skip to the actual important parts. I didn't watch the first 5 minutes of the game. Maybe that's my bad. I don't know exactly.
So pretty much, if you're playing EU, if you beat Singularity, it's pretty much a guarantee you go all the way to the finals and then win the whole series. So really, you don't need to worry about beating anyone else. Just beat Singularity, and then it's a free ride.
Obviously, the 8th seed in the playoffs is going to win the whole thing, right?
But I do want to talk a little bit about the power of your region. In my opinion, I think EU plays a better metagame than North America does. And I've been saying that for the last few weeks. You have a little bit more privilege to these teams, and you've probably been scrimming a lot of them. I believe before we started this episode, you talked about how your top 3 is yourself, Granite, and Worst Positioning, if I have it correctly.
Yeah,
That's
that was
Henning's
my
call.
top 3. That was
That's
my top
Henning's
3.
call.
That's Henning's top 3. Okay. Now, we really didn't see anything from worst positioning the first 3 weeks. I don't believe either they didn't participate or they just didn't make it.
They did not
Now,
participate.
They played in the first and second week, I think, under the name Oink.
Oh yeah,
But
I remember that.
but they had a different roster. It was like, I think they still had Shiku and Nunia, and then I'm not sure about the rest. They had like Suris.
Wasn't Vortex on that team too?
Yeah. No, it wasn't Nunia exactly. It was like Shiku, Vortex, Suris, and then the 2 other guys. I can check.
Wait, I can check. Yeah, but they basically they had a different roster.
Yeah, they only kept like 2 people from that
No,
roster.
they didn't.
So
They didn't
that
reach
is
top
pretty
8.
interesting. That is pretty interesting because we do have essentially 4 teams, according to the standings, that rank slightly above them. With Terra's Rodzina actually, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, knocking you guys out 2 weeks in a row. So are the scrims just going that well on the side of Granite and worst positioning that you really handed it to them? Like they're knocking it out of the park?
I mean,
I would say that based on the last cups and what we saw, like I can't say that we played really good this last one either, but based on previous performances in the cups and like if you look at the forms of the teams right now, how they like rise and fall and so on, that's why I take those like as my top 3, since like based on how we play against them in scrims and stuff as well. Like if we match up evenly against them, or if we just win most of the games, or vice versa, you know.
Okay. And going into next week, it is the last week. Obviously, you guys have secured your number 1 seed. You will not lose that. You're 155 points above the next team, so no way anyone can make up that difference. If you got to choose who you'd face in the first round, who would you choose?
Polska.
No.
From our current top 8, it's Terra's Rodzina, Manticore, Team Go, E-Punks, Valhalla.
Out of the two likely ones, then it's like Valhalla or worst positioning, I guess. And then for sure I would say Valhalla, since I said before it's like, sure, you have to beat everyone if you want to win it all, but getting the easiest route possible, like why make it harder than it has to be? And as I previously said, I would rank worst positioning in like top 3 at the moment, so dodging them first round would be really smooth for us, I think.
I definitely could see them moving up in the standings next week anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll play the middle quarters again next week, I suppose.
If they're 8,
so we get
would they be?
Yeah, they are 8th seed, so we would probably play them in quarters again next week.
No, but to be honest, like I don't really care who we play. Like I actually 0 fucks given, because if we just play our game and our style and how we are supposed to play, and if we listen to each other, then I think like we should be able to beat any team. But as soon as we don't do this like we did this week, then you see what happened.
Okay.
All right.
So Dunk, I'm gonna try and end this and move on to NA. But at the very beginning, we did the way too early Crucible predictions. Now that we're going into week 7 here pretty quickly, who do you see as the 2 teams going into the Crucible? Now, before you answer that, at the very start, I think the first 2 weeks, we each said either Singularity. I think you said Team Go at that time.
Yeah, he said Team Go.
Yeah, he was on the Team Go hype train.
Yeah.
Still on it, guys. Still on it. They're going to go there.
Singularity, your team was dominating the first 2 weeks pretty obviously.
I mean, I think we had a bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Because, we could actually scrim for like 3 weeks before the first open. We get to know each other a bit. Like, the synergy was there.
Yeah, we kept 4 players from our old roster from last season under Never Lucky. The only roster change that happened was that we picked up Hydra, which was like a really good pickup for us because of the knowledge and skill he brought, and also he fit into the team like a glove instantly as well. Like our personalities and stuff matched really well.
So he's a really good memer, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just take a look at his Twitch emotes and you'll know.
I should stop by his stream. I have a couple times, but I've never
So-
looked at the emotes.
My 2 teams to go to Crucible through Europe are gonna be Team Singularity and Granite Gaming.
Ooh.
I'm with Henning on this. I actually think Granite has been playing very well. Unfortunately, this week they had to leave the tournament early due to a family emergency. Bearing no ill surprises for them, I do think that if they play out through the rest of the tournament, they will be the second team, following alongside Singularity.
All right. So for me, I think Singularity as well. I think you guys have just been too consistent throughout the entire season to not earn that spot. I think your play has been either head and shoulders above the rest or above everyone, at least a little bit. So I think you guys will at least finish. I think you'll finish first, honestly. That's not favoritism
don't
at all.
jinx it.
That's not bias at all.
Ooh.
I'll just get D in here, and he'll tell you to finish fourth.
Yeah, of course you will.
But I think depending on where they finish in standings, because if they finish 8th, obviously they have to go through you. But I think worst positioning right now is set very well to finish 2nd or top 2 at least.
Okay.
So those are just predictions. Obviously, they're not 100% going to happen. But let's move on to NA. Now, I know you guys are usually sleeping at this point. There's no reason for you to stay up until 5 in the morning to watch a tournament. But if you ever caught some of the games, you might have in the morning. I don't know.
No, I haven't watched any games like live personally, but I keep up with the scores and whatnot like the day after to see who won and so on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people have to work, so for me it's a bit hard. Yeah.
So we had, I think the same 4 as last. No, wait, there was one different one from last. There was one difference from last week. So XD is back this week. They were not participating in Cup number 5. They were going through some roster swaps, things with SMV at the time. Talking Trees and Hami returned to XD, and they played against EID in the semifinals and ended up winning that series 2-1. Now the first game, XD handily won, and then going forward to game 2, EID broke out. Was it them? No, I'm thinking of a different team. But EID looked really strong in game 2. Really wasn't anything XD can do. Like, they kind of got run over, honestly. And then XD kind of went back to what they were doing in game 1. It was a little bit closer. I think it was Volskaya game 3. And XD ended up pulling it out. Then going to the bottom side of the bracket, we had Monk S, who was SMV. They had picked up Srey, who, if anyone doesn't know, used to play in the HGC as well. And they
Coached him.
Kind of, I guess. And they took out Rougeau 2-0. And Rougeau is a dorm team, University of Laval. They're French-Canadian, who have been honestly impressing everyone, whether it's myself and the 2 casters on the Blizz Heroes channel, or Dunk, if you have been casting them or watching them on the HeroesHype channel, wherever they are, they've impressed. And I think one of my favorite things about that team is Earth's Ragnaros play. I think he's probably my favorite melee assassin right now, or offlaner, I should say, in North America. However, obviously they weren't able to win. So going forward to the finals, we had XD take it over Monk S 2-0. Now XD straight up dominated game 1. It was pretty quick. if I remember correctly, it was BOE. And then game 2 was Volskaya. And at the very end, Monk S was leading for most of the game. XT had some really good fights. The bottom point was being contested. And they were down 20 talent tiers. However, we had some disconnect problems, some really bad ones. Leon Black, Monk S's tank, unfortunately got an error while he was trying to reconnect, and his rejoin button disappeared. So he just couldn't get back on. And then cover of XD was having issues as well, but he was able to reconnect. So one thing I did learn is that a bot ETC with stage dive is really bad. Because he will stage dive into the base every time. No matter what, that's where he goes.
I could do the same.
So, for the future, if you have any fear of disconnecting when you're ETC, go mosh pit. It's been proven to win games.
It has been proven to win games, actually. It's been a long time, but it definitely has won games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we did see XD take the finals. You know, they have a pretty healthy point lead, nowhere near the amount of gap that's present in EU. Not secured as the number 1 seed just yet, only an 85-point lead. So as long as they finish second or higher, they should take it. Eighth or higher, eighth place or higher, they should take it.
They can finish 4th.
8th for 40 points, right?
8th is
85,
40, but if
equals 40 is 125,
Monkey
which
S
means
gets first, then they get 120 and they pass.
They're still down 5 points.
Quick maths.
525 plus 40 is 565.
I'm
plus
dumb.
120
I can't do math.
is 580.
Rip.
Come
Rip,
on.
you're not a math teacher, man.
This is not a math podcast.
I just did math on stream and I was correct. Take that.
Oh man, rip.
So yeah, they would need 4th place.
Really important when we're talking about North America, though. A lot of these teams that are in our top 10 to 12 are dorm teams. Okay. My understanding is they are not going to be playing for their Crucible rights. I may be wrong.
They can.
Because it's my understanding you can't compete in dorms if you successfully make it into the HGC.
You can't compete in HGC and dorm. You can compete in the open.
So my question is, and I maybe we need an admin to clarify this, can the dorm teams compete in the top 8? Because those positions...
When is the top 4 for dorms being played?
It is May 12th.
May 11th.
May 12th.
They'll have the time for it. We'll have the time for it.
And when is the Crucible?
It is
May
before
5th.
that.
May 5th, yeah. Oh, okay.
So they'd be in the HGC, but then they would play dorm immediately after, if they made it that far.
Yeah. Would that count as HGC then? That would be really weird.
Yeah. Because they're not now. Like UNT was doing it last year. Or not UNT, UTA.
You're talking about UTA?
Yeah.
I believe, though, 2 of their members had to drop out because...
No, they just disbanded. Because Q joined Team Freedom.
That might have been it.
After Phase 1. So.
But that'd be interesting.
That was after Dorm, though. They won Dorm first before he joined Freedom.
And then,
Dorms was earlier last year. It was early April.
Yeah, it was the first week of April.
We need something like this in EU, guys.
we had our Nexus games.
Yeah, you have the Nexus games.
But that's not enough.
You could always import yourself over here. We have plenty of players that already do it.
You were talking about one of the people that you know on Laval. You could just be.
I do have a guest bet.
I'm coming.
I graduate high school here now, so I might just come over to NA to study there, for the dorm.
Yeah, we have pretty good universities. I will say that.
Yeah, we do have some pretty good universities, and
however, it might be a little more expensive. Anyway.
Yeah.
Probably.
Who is your Crucible? They go top 2. Who are you going with, Argy?
Well, I think Monk S. Honestly, if they had all 5 people, they would have won game 2. Because they looked really strong in that second game, and I think they would have taken that series. I think Monk S is going to finish out first place, and I think XT will finish second. It's a little surprising because XG does look really good, and I've been talking with Call a lot about it, and he's on the XD hype train, but I'm pretty sure Monka S is gonna take it.
So can't sell them short. Definitely I gotta say Monk S. They look so good. They have been looking good. XD looks great as well. I almost guarantee you it's one of those two, but I really think EID is gonna sneak in. I really do. Some way, somehow, they're gonna be my number 3. They're gonna be like this team that kind of comes in swinging during the actual round of 8 and make it to that top 2. I think they knock out either Monk S or XD, depending on what side of the bracket they're on, which we do not know yet. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if EID can take a series. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Rouge took a series off of them either. Like, I think
if they can play, that is.
If they can play, I'm assuming they can play, and I'm like 99% sure they can. It shouldn't affect anything, but in the event that they can't, which would really suck.
And can confirm we do have admins in chat trying to find out for us if the dorm teams cannot compete in the top 8. So that would be very interesting information.
Yeah.
Well, if they can, though, we got a route for Rouge.
Yeah,
got a route for our.
Honestly, if they can, Laval. I'm picking Laval over EID.
Same.
Like it's that is my pick. At this point though, I'm just not 100% sure, so I'm gonna go with EID. So.
And Laval did win 2-0 in the 3rd place match.
Yeah,
it was glorious. Your boy Nestip.
Our boy Nestip. Yeah,
he killed his own tank. It was great.
Wait,
no, that can't be him.
You need to tell me how that happened.
Can't be him.
Or maybe he has embraced the NA spirit now. Who knows?
He playing Junkrat. He used the trip mine to try and peel for his Garrosh with Garrosh at 5% HP. Knock the tracer into him. Pulse bomb comes out and she just recalls and you see Garrosh just really? It just dies. Oh man.
Oh gosh. All
It's
right.
great.
Well, typical SNG play, I guess.
Yeah. Nestip is learning from the best. Obviously.
Oh boy.
Okay, we're gonna move on now. I think we finished talking about open division. So I want to talk about Loranes and Henning. I want to talk about your team for a little bit. I want to know you had mentioned that you had played together last season under the name Never Lucky.
Yeah.
Moving into this season, when did you get picked up with by a sponsor, and kind of how did the team come together originally? I would like to know as well.
Oh, is it time for the Henning story?
It's the story time. Okay, let's go.
But not in the storyteller voice this time though. The story of our team is pretty long, but a really good one. Originally, our core of Karsi, me and Laranas, we have been playing together since when is that? June or something last year. We have been playing together for so long now. We are like brothers now. And originally, I was looking for a team in April sometime last year, I think, and I joined Laranas among some others. And at the time, that team wasn't really good. It wasn't two good players. So the team disbanded. But me and Laranas, we liked playing with each other. So then that season ended. And the summer season was about to start. And Laranas contacted me oh, do you want to make a team with me? I was like, yeah, sure. But then the problem was that we had some people, we tried to make a team, but we never got anywhere. We had players joining and then dropping out and so on. So I was playing with another team, scrimming with them and stuff to not get rusty. And in that team, Karsi played. And Karsi was actually a tank back then. Or he had played ranged assassin and stuff for his Hungarian team before. So then I played with them. And the same procedure goes with that team. The players weren't too good. But me and Karsi liked playing with each other. So then Karsi wanted to make a team with me. And I told Karsi I already have a team that we are trying to build, me and Laranas. How about you come and join us? But Laranas is the tank, so you have to swap back to ranged assassin. And at the time, then we played with Svampgrott and Lumpy as our two last players. And we played with Lumpy for 2 cups, I think, and then he left the team. And at this time, Knutti wanted to join a new team because he didn't like how little his time, how little time his team spent on scrimming. So then I contacted him because I had played with him like previously in Mo, and I'm a good friend of his. So then I contacted him like, "Oh, do you want to join us then?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure. As long as you spend time scrimming, then yeah." So he joined the team, but the problem here was that we started playing in Cup 4 or 5, I think, and in the end we played a real grudge match against Eat Kebab Bro in the last cup, playing them for who would be the number 8th team like in the playoffs. Unfortunately, we choked that and lost, so we didn't make playoffs. And after that, Svamp, he wanted to like focus on real life, so he left the team. And then we began the search for a new solo laner, and we had a lot of candidates, but eventually we landed on Hydra.
We landed on him, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or he or he landed among us, and he instantly fit in really good. Like his personality matched ours really well, and the knowledge and skill that he brought has really like helped us evolve as well, because we went from like being 9th place last open division season to now being locked in as number 1, which is quite the journey actually. And based on the singularity part, Laranas, you can take it from here.
Well, we talked about this in the pre-chat already a bit, but yeah, it started when I met Young Beck in Korea at the Heroes World Championship, and he needed a bed to sleep in. So I offered him like my room, and so he could sleep in my second bed. And yeah, like he said, "Oh, I owe you something." And like after a while, he told me that some Nordic organizations are looking for a heroes team. Yeah, and since we have 2 Swedes, well, and Hydra, but okay, he's Russian, but whatever. So basically, yeah, he said, well, Singularity is looking for a team. I started to talk to Ethel, like, which is the CEO of Singularity, and we had some good talks, and yeah, they wanted us to be a part of them, and they like offer us a lot of support to reach the goal to get into HEC with them together. That's why yeah, we go to boot camp next week before playoffs. We're gonna meet the first time as a team, like mostly. I mean, Karsi's coming to my place a few days earlier, so we will hang out a bit. But yeah, the rest, so it will be super fun. We will obviously play a lot and prepare for the playoffs, but also we want to use the time to get to know each other in person and have a bit of fun. Yeah.
That's great to hear, because
yeah,
like the team bonding is really what's gonna get you to the next level and get you into HGC.
That's what we hope.
Yeah. Do you?
So
Go ahead,
we do actually have a question from chat, and I've been meaning to get it. I didn't want to let him down. Who is the best player on your team, and why is it Nutty?
Yeah, because it's Knutti.
It's pronounced Knutti.
Oh, it's pronounced Knutti? Oh, my bad.
Dunk,
My
know,
bad.
Dunk, you know my last name. You know how it's pronounced. Come on.
I mean, as a
it's
fellow
pronounced-
Swede, I can only say that it's because he's Swedish, of course. He has the esport power in his blood.
The esports power.
Esports.
No, but I think in general, like in our team, it's hard to say like who's the best player, because every one of us has his qualities, and like for example, like Knutti and Karsi are like mechanical super good, and then you have Hydra with like a lot of knowledge and like how he calms the team, and then it's me Yeah, yelling all the time.
He's in chat. He's ripping it.
So yeah, I'm yelling all the time and like trying to get everyone hyped and stuff. And then we have Carsey. He's like the professional memer.
Yeah, that's the number one memer of the team.
Yeah, that's what he said.
for
He's only
sure.
here for the memes.
Yeah,
That's-
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I think we just fit like really well together as a team.
Awesome.
No, it's really awesome to hear. You guys have been playing extremely well. You know, it's you guys definitely able to pull off every composition you pull in to the games. You know, you always seem to have like this really strong battle plan. So really good to hear from you guys. Going forward, you said you talked about your boot camp. I believe we have Cup 7 and then this next week and then the playoffs the week after. Are you going to be boot camping the entire time all the way to the Crucible?
No, we're going to Copenhagen on the 30th. So we boot camp and scrim and stuff the weekend before, and then the playoffs are between the 2nd and 4th. So we'll be playing the playoffs in the boot camp, and then
we
once the
celebrate, of
playoffs are
course.
over, then we go back.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like it's 1 month until Crucibles after playoffs, like almost. So, I mean, it's always funny because if I say if we get to Crucibles, then Carsey said, you mean when we get to Crucibles, you know? And so, I mean, when we get to Crucibles, and I think if we like pull off what we can do, then we should go there for sure. Then we have like 1 month of like, you know, I will stop working, Kruti will stop working. We will just prepare like
Or like
super
go
hard.
down in time at least, yeah.
Yeah. Like we will just try to, to do everything to reach the dream then.
Sweet. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys compete in the playoffs and hopefully the Crucible. I think there's a good shot that you can take out. I would guess Leftovers is going to end up being last place, but
we want to play.
We'll see who
Yeah.
who is in the better shape when it's time for Crucible.
that's true because anything can change.
Guys, I don't even want to see you in the playoffs. I just want to see you in the HGC. Let's talk more about it then.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to about do it for our show today. So, before we close out, it's time for shoutouts. Now, Loranis, you were telling me that you need to get these correct, all of them. So I'm going to let you start. I'm going to put you in the spotlight.
I got your back if you choke.
Oh my god, I'm shaking. No. Well, like first of all, of course, a huge shout out to my teammates. While Henning is here, so Carsey, Knuti, and Hydra. It's awesome to play with you guys, and I hope we can focus for the last weeks now and get our dream. And then, of course, I shout out to Team Singularity. Awesome support, always there for us. If we need anything, we can call them anytime. So that's really nice to have, you know, like a solid org in the back. And then a shout out to our sponsors, Raven doing our awesome jerseys and hoodies, Ozone for providing us with gear, Kaspersky to keep our PC safe, and the Hi-Fi Kluben, which is a new partner. So yeah, thank you very much for helping us out.
Awesome. Henning, let's move on to you.
Oh, and our team mom. I forgot our team mom, Buvella. I'm really sorry. Shout out to you.
Maranas didn't choke the sponsors, so I can't save it now. No, but I have pretty much the same. Like, shout out to my teammates, of course. Like, we're like a tiny family, like brothers, because we fight as well. No, but and also a huge shout out to my family and friends that like all support me with what I'm doing, and like all others watching our games and supporting us on Twitter, Twitch, in chat. It's what keeps us really motivated and driven. Yeah.
Awesome. Dunk, let's move it on to you.
You're
and you're
muted.
muted. Dang.
Whoops. Shout out to our two special guests, Loranis and Henning. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad we could make this happen. Argy and I have been trying to get you guys on the show for a few weeks now. Really appreciate the reach out to us to make sure you get on here. I'm more than happy to move our schedule so we can pitch you in, not at like 3 a.m. But thanks for being here. Shout out to everyone that has watched the podcast throughout the weeks. This is week 29, or episode 29, I should say. Thank you for the continual support and HeroesHype, everyone in the production crew. I'm not really sure. Argy didn't tell me who made the graphic for today, so we appreciate the 4th slot. Awesome. And make sure you follow these guys on Twitter, at Loranis Heroes and at Henning Hots. Great players, great team. Expect to see more. And if you don't, wake up early on Monday mornings and see them play. It's pretty kick-ass. And of course, below me, follow at Dunkstick. And I will actually be streaming on Twitch about a half an hour after the show.
Cool. Now, for me, I got to say thank you to Loranis and Henning again for coming on. Special thanks to Loranis for reaching out initially, however many weeks ago it was. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was a while, but yeah, thank you for having us here.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It's great
It's been an honor.
Well, the honor's all on this side of the room. So, anyway, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Thank you so much to everyone that has competed and participated in the Open so far and made it an enjoyable experience for everyone watching. Thank you to Dunk for being my co-host at the last minute several weeks ago. It's been really fun to have you, and I look forward to more shows. If you have not already, follow this channel and follow our Twitter page at HeroesHype for any news and updates regarding the Open Division, as well as our Discord server, where we will announce anything that you need to know if you're competing, whether it's hero bans, talent bans, what server we're on. By the way, we're on the tournament realm, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah, and then just personal stuff. Shout out to my dogs for whining on the other side of the door today.
Yay!
Shout out to Johnny. It was Johnny that made the graphics, by the way. And I've always had this one. We just have never had 4 people. Make sure to follow me at Argy. Does it say just Argy at the right underneath?
Yes, it does.
Oh no. I thought I had it as Argy Hots. Oh no. That's not right. It's Argy Hots, by the way, for Twitter and Twitch. Make sure to follow me there. I streamed today. I'll probably stream sometime again this week, but work. Yeah, it's been a pleasure today to speak to you guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in week 7 and forward. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.